Since the emergence of the first internal combustion engine, the automotive industry has grown exponentially. Petroleum, used as fuel since the 19th century, became a concern for environmentalists. This led to the search for innovations. Today, in major cities, especially in developed countries, electric cars packed with technology are prevalent. However, surprisingly, electric cars are not a novelty of the modern world. In the past, several individuals contributed to the development of electric motors. In 1828, Hungarian Ányos Vedlik created the first multifunctional electric motor. Interestingly, Vedlik used it to move a model locomotive for amusement. Robert Anderson, a Scottish businessman and chemist, deserves the title of father of the electric car. Between 1832 and 1839, he introduced a prototype powered by electric cells. In 1859, Gaston Plante made history with his rechargeable lead-acid batteries. These batteries enabled energy storage for vehicles. Camille Faure, in 1881, improved these batteries, enhancing their recharge capacity. In the same year, Gustave Trouve unveiled an electric tricycle at the Electricity exhibition in Paris. In 1888, Andreas Flocken presented the Flocken Elektrowagen, an electric carriage that reached 15 km per hour. In 1890, US chemist William Morrison advanced electric car design. His car stood out in races and parades in Des Moines, Iowa. However, in 1899, the gasoline engine was gaining ground. Belgian driver Camille Genetzi demonstrated this by exceeding 100 km per hour in Paris. The 20th century began with promises for electric cars. In 1900, rechargeable batteries became popular. New York taxi drivers were pioneers in their use. Historians point out that, in that year, 1/3 of cars in the US were electric. Some even believe that they outperformed gasoline cars between 1899 and 1900. So, why didn't they take off back then? Electric cars faced significant challenges in their initial adoption. Four main reasons stood out. First, limited electric car range was a major barrier. While combustion engine cars promised long journeys without refueling, electric cars couldn't match that distance. For many, this was an inconvenience. Imagining a long trip or even an extended ride seemed unfeasible with the limited battery of an electric car. Second, charging time. Besides waiting hours for a full battery, there was an aggravating factor: the lack of charging infrastructure. This was an era where gas stations were already established, but electric charging stations, they were nearly non-existent. The third point was tied to the consumer's wallet. The production costs of electric vehicles were high. Batteries, filled with expensive technology and materials, drove up the final product's cost. Meanwhile, combustion engine vehicles, even with their imperfections, were more affordable, making the choice obvious for many. Lastly, petroleum, which in the early 20th century was abundant and cheap. Its presence not only in cars but also in various industrial sectors, like plastic manufacturing, a component present in all vehicles, highlighted the strength of this raw material. With this backdrop, it wasn't surprising that innovations in the automotive sector were geared towards combustion engine cars. Remembering the 1908 Ford Model T, created by Henry Ford, we have a notable example. As the first car produced on an assembly line, it democratized access to individual transportation. Economically speaking, by 1912, the contrast was evident. An electric car could cost up to $1,700, while a gasoline-powered one was around $650. The petroleum industry, seeing this trend, didn't remain idle. It acted aggressively, promoting the benefits of petroleum derivatives and their multiple applications, such as plastics, so prevalent in automobiles and other sectors. As the years passed, technologies evolved, and along with them, people's mindset. Environmental concerns arose and solidified, driving renewed interest in electric cars. They started hitting the streets again, proving to be viable alternatives to combustion engine models, even with challenges similar to those from the past still present. The initial investment in an electric vehicle, for instance, still weighs on the wallet. While battery technology has improved, allowing for greater range, it comes at a cost. The more range one desires, the more they pay. Charging time, even though it has advanced, still doesn't compare to the speed of refueling a gas tank. And the infrastructure? While it's growing, it's still not on par with gas stations, which are easily found in any city. Another challenge of electric cars is the environmental aspect. What to do with old batteries? How to dispose of them without harming the environment? And then we have the issue of battery production. The extraction of materials like lithium and cobalt, necessary for their manufacturing, generates significant environmental impacts. While electric vehicles bring many advantages and are essential for a sustainable future, they still face challenges that hark back to their inception. It's up to us as a society to consider, encourage progress, and make conscious choices for the future of mobility and our planet. The automotive industry is undergoing a revolution. While some brands are chasing electric vehicles, Toyota is taking its own path. Akio Toyoda, the leader of this giant, made a surprising statement. He doesn't see electric vehicles as the best future option for cars. This makes us wonder, why? Toyota has a history with innovation. Remember the Prius? It was one of the world's first hybrids, intelligently combining electricity and fuel. After the Prius came the Corolla Cross XRV. However, it wasn't fully electric. Toyota even ventured into the electric SUV territory with the BZ4X in 2022. But, interestingly, it didn't achieve the resounding success expected. So, what's Akio Toyoda's plan? He surveys the landscape and sees a third way. An innovative path. We're talking about hydrogen-powered engines. This type of engine isn't like conventional ones. Instead of burning gasoline or diesel, it burns hydrogen. The science behind this is fascinating. Hydrogen is an extremely light chemical element. It's also highly flammable. When it's burned, a chemical reaction occurs. This reaction releases a significant amount of energy. This energy is used to power and move the vehicle. Toyota's Mirai model exemplifies this technology. The Toyota Mirai is a modern marvel. It utilizes hydrogen fuel cells to operate. This means it uses hydrogen to create electricity. And this electricity powers an electric motor. What's intriguing is that it doesn't rely on batteries like common electric cars. Instead, it draws its energy directly from the fuel cell. However, Toyota aims to further evolve this technology with the ICE engine. Toyota doesn't just want to innovate, it wants to lead. Its engineers are working tirelessly on the Corolla Cross H2 concept prototype. This car, still in the testing phase, uses the ICE engine. It's a kind of internal combustion engine but powered by hydrogen. Due to the unique characteristics of hydrogen, this car required some adaptations. For example, it features a reinforced fuel tank. This is to handle the volatile nature of hydrogen. The engine also had to be adapted. The valves are more robust. There are stronger connecting rods. The injectors were specifically designed for gas. And of course, several other modifications were made. After all, safety cannot be compromised. Speaking of hydrogen, it's a fascinating element. It's the most abundant element we know of. It has incredible energy capacity. And when burned, its residue is simply water. Yes, pure water. Just imagine cars that emit water vapor instead of polluting smoke. Hydrogen is not new to the world of energy. Every year, millions of tons of this gas are produced and used in various sectors. It powers buildings, electric cars, forklifts, and even ships and trains. So, why isn't it more common in cars yet? The answer lies in one word: safety. Hydrogen comes with challenges. It's extremely volatile, highly flammable. If there's a leak and someone lights a match nearby, the consequences can be disastrous. Therefore, its storage and transportation require utmost care. Reinforced tanks are necessary. And not just in cars. Refueling stations must also adhere to strict safety standards. But if there's anyone who can overcome these challenges, it's Toyota. They are heavily investing in this technology. And if they can overcome the obstacles, the automotive market could be transformed. Hydrogen-powered cars might not only be eco-friendly but also contribute to air humidity. Just imagine less polluted cities with purer air. The lingering question is hydrogen the future of automobiles? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, Toyota is determined to shape that future. And what do you think about it? Are you ready for a hydrogen-powered future?